Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's workshop, Cybersecurity in Your Small Business, brought to you by America's SBDC at Texas Tech University, Abilene, in partnership with Grow with Google. Grow with Google helps people grow their skills, careers, and businesses by offering free digital skills and training, as well as tools. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Zell McGee. I am an accredited small business consultant here at America's SBDC at Texas Tech University in Abilene. I have 40 years of experience in the food service, lodging, hospitality, and recreation industries. I am also a graduate of Hardin-Simmons University with a bachelor's degree in behavioral science and a master's degree in management. I'm so excited that you are all here today with us, and I am deeply honored to be your presenter. Today, we'll be talking about cybersecurity, why it matters to your business, and why it matters to businesses of all sizes, and how you can protect yourself and your customers. So let's get started. Please note the following examples are spam messages. Let's start with some examples of common cyber attack attempts that many of us, if not all of us, have experienced. Have you ever received an email like this with the exciting news that a generous stranger gifted you $1.5 million? Sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds way too good to be true. Emails like this have many variations, and you may see them in different forms. In this example, the sender wants to know if he can trust you with $10.5 million. If you respond with your phone number, he'll let you know what to do next. Typically, it's going to tell you to go to Walgreens or Best Buy or somewhere and get some gift cards and send them to them. Cyber attacks are not limited to email. They can surface in many forms of communication, including text messages. Attempts aren't always as obvious as multi-million-dollar giveaways, but you might be asked to click on a link to renew a subscription for a service that sounds familiar to you. This is an example of phishing, when a cybercriminal impersonates a brand or person to trick you into taking an action that gives them access to your device or accounts. Sometimes the communications are threatening. In this case, the sender says that they found illegal, embarrassing content on your computer, and they plan to let everyone know unless you transfer 13.5 Bitcoin to their account. The value of Bitcoin fluctuates from day to day, but at the time of when this email was received by the individual, the ransom value was valued at more than $20,000 US. And as you can imagine, that was some time ago, because today a single Bitcoin is worth $28,000. The blackmailer provides instructions on how to make the Bitcoin transfer with a little barb. Quote, "If you don't know how to purchase and transfer Bitcoin, you can use any modern search engine." End quote. Best of all, they offer some parting advice within the message as well. They suggest that you keep changing all of your passwords frequently. That's really not shabby advice at all. In today's workshop, we'll show you some ways to create and manage strong passwords so you won't, quote, "get caught in similar kinds of situations anymore in the future," end quote. This workshop will explain ways to improve your online business security as well. We'll help you to understand why cybersecurity matters for businesses of all sizes, show you ways to protect yourself and your customers online, and explain your next steps in the event of a cyber attack. So let's get started. Cybersecurity matters for every business. All of us have heard stories of computer security breaches over the years, with customer data stolen, systems disabled, and access to important data held for ransom. As the number of digital tools grow, they also become attack vectors for criminals and other bad actors, presenting another challenge for businesses. According to an online survey conducted by the Connected Commerce Council in 2022, 65% of small business leaders say that data security and customer privacy are concerns for their businesses right now. This information was acquired through the Connected Commerce Report, Digital Tools, the Key to Small Business Resilience in Today's Economy 2023. In the same survey, 85% of small business leaders said that having a cybersecurity plan in place would make them feel more comfortable using digital tools for their businesses over the next 2 years. There's no denying that there are bad actors out there, but there are also actions that you can take to protect your business and your customers and start developing your cybersecurity plan. So, what exactly is a cyber attack? A cyber attack is an offensive action that targets computers, computer networks, infrastructure, or smartphones. To get into these systems, the attackers look for vulnerabilities like weak passwords. Here's another way to look at it. Think of your computer, phone, and online presence like a home. This home has different entry points, including email, social media, a website, and many more. Cybercriminals test the entry points by automating attacks with computer code that knocks on every door to see which one opens. Initially, a cybercriminal might not know or even care what's inside the home. They won't necessarily review brand or business information before attacking. They are simply checking for vulnerabilities which can be exploited. That's why it's important not to dismiss cybersecurity thinking that your business is too small for an attack. Most cybercriminals choose targets by looking for technical signs that suggest vulnerabilities. These can include out-of-date websites built with less security, software that hasn't been updated, and technical vulnerabilities on employee devices. So, how can you protect yourself from all of this? Let's start with protecting passwords and identity. By now, many of you have probably heard advice about creating strong passwords. It's helpful to review some basic tips. Make your passwords difficult to guess. They should be long strings of characters that include letters, numbers, and symbols. Keep passwords private and never share them with other people. Use a different password for each account or services. Don't use the same one across all of your online accounts. Using different passwords means that even if someone figures out a password for one account, they can't use it to access your other accounts. Now, here's a bonus tip. Make sure you use strong password for your Wi-Fi network too. So if you have a Wi-Fi network in your business, make sure you're not using one that has the default password set up in it. Change that. Perhaps an easier way to manage passwords is to use a tool called a password manager. There are many options available, but they all essentially do the same thing. They help you securely store and autofill passwords so you can easily sign into your accounts. Some password managers can also generate secure passwords for you too. You can find different options for password managers by doing a search for Password Manager. Google has a no-cost option called Google Password Manager. Password Manager helps you create, save, and autofill your passwords. It can also alert you if any of your saved passwords have been compromised. Passwords are securely stored in your Google account. You can learn more by visiting passwords.google.com. Now, one thing to note, if your Google online password is compromised, you've kind of given somebody full access to all of your passwords if you store them within Google. I would strongly encourage you to use some type of offline password storage. That way, nobody can get into it. Like they have many apps that you can put on your phone. Or if you do use the Google Password Manager, don't link your accounts across devices. Just use the one on your phone. Makes it a lot easier for you. An extra security measure you can use to protect your identity is called two-step verification. This feature is also known as two-factor verification and multi-factor authentication, or MFA. Here's how it works. When you sign into a device or online account with your username and password, two-step verification adds another requirement. You cannot sign in until you complete the second verification step. This could be a code sent to your phone, a phone call that requires a PIN code, or a physical security key that must be plugged into the computer. Enabling two-step verification means the account is protected by something that you know, your username and password, plus something that you physically own, like a phone or a security key. This combination makes it more difficult for an unauthorized person to sign into the system. Two-step verification is useful for any service you sign into, like email or a password-protected website. If your business builds and sells online services or software, consider making two-step verification part of your product. Giving your customers the option of using two-step verification will help them protect their accounts. If your business uses Google Workspace, your administrator has the option to enable two-step verification there. If your data is especially sensitive, there are security keys. The security keys are the most secure form of two-step verification that you could have and protect against phishing threats. You can purchase a security key. They start at about $30 or use your phone's built-in security key, available on phones that run either Android 7 and on or iOS 10 plus. So if you're still using one of those old phones, you may want to think about upgrading. If you're using Google's consumer tools like free Gmail, you can turn on two-step verification at your Google account. In either case, you are making it much more difficult for cybercriminals to access your account. If you use Google Workspace, you have an administrator account or admin account, even if it's just you. An admin account has privileges to manage services like Gmail, Google Docs, etc., for other people in your organization, everyone that has an associated Google Workspace account for your Google Workspace account. If your business does not have a dedicated IT administrator, you're probably the admin. Here are some tips to help the admin set the Google Workspace account up for security. First, you want to limit who can see newly created files. You can control who can see files created by the users in your Google Workspace account, your employees or colleagues, by turning link sharing off. You can make sure only the user who creates a file can open it until they explicitly share it with other people. This is basically need to know. You can also add an automatic warning if a file is being shared with someone outside of the organization. Here's another tip. Limit how users share their calendars. Company calendars can contain sensitive information, so you might want to restrict calendar sharing so external users cannot see event details. Finally, don't get locked out of your account. If you set up a recovery phone and email address, Google can send you a new password via phone, text, or email. You can get step-by-step instructions to manage these security options in the Help Center. You want to visit g.co/grow/workspace security to learn more. Additionally, many of these sites, social media and Google as well, they have what they call a legacy user that you can set up in the unfortunate event that you are no longer with us. That way, somebody will still have access to your information to keep the business going or to close up the business, whatever the case may be. The Google Workspace Administrator sets up security options that apply to everyone in the organization. But individual users can add their own restrictions, okay? For example, if you share a file with another person, you can control whether they can edit, comment on, or only view the file. After you share a file, you can stop sharing at any time. You can also control if people you've shared with change permissions, share your file with others, and if people with viewer or commenter access can download, print, or copy the file. To learn more about how files and folders can be shared, visit g.co/grow/sharing files. And there are many reasons why you may want to or not want to share files. So you want to consider this immensely, because if it's internal security, if it's what you might call business sensitive, business restricted, you may not want your customers having access to those files. Now that you've learned some ways to protect your passwords and your identity, let's talk about protecting your equipment, apps, and data. Let's start with some basic tips. First, never leave your computer unattended. This might seem annoying, but if you walk away from your computer, you should lock it. Lock your desktop, require a password to wake it back up from sleep or to log back in. You should always keep your computer private. One option, like I said, is to enable your lock screen, okay? It's a security feature that requires a password to access data and programs on the computer. That way, if you step away from your computer for a few minutes, the lock screen keeps your work private. Also, if you are a business owner and you have employee files on your computer, you will definitely want to keep your computer locked, because you don't want other employees accessing other employees' personnel files. That's not a good thing. If you're responsible for distributing computers to employees or colleagues, make sure they can access only the devices that are assigned to them. You don't want them to have access to all of the other computers in the business unless they have a need to. Again, this is kind of one of the things for small business owners that they really don't like to do. They want to allow people to log on to different machines. You don't want to do that, because then you start getting data integrity, password integrity, all sorts of things, different vectors for people to get into the machine. In addition, people should have access only to the tools that they need to do for their jobs. They don't need to have access to everything that your business does. For example, a sales team might need access to inventory records, but not payroll data. That kind of makes a lot of sense, right? If system access is limited, there is less risk to the business if a device falls into the wrong hands. Finally, make sure hardware comes from a trusted source before using it. For example, if you find a USB stick on your desk and you're not sure where it came from, do not plug it into your computer. If somebody gives you a USB disk at a convention or something, you may want to think twice before actually plugging that into your computer. Okay, you want to have it plugged into a standalone box that you can scan it for viruses or malware and make sure that it's safe to stick into your business network. Now, the same considerations apply to mobile devices. Okay, if your colleagues and employees can access company information via smartphones or tablets, consider creating a mobile device management policy. The policy could, for example, require employees to encrypt their devices, require a PIN to unlock their devices, and allow remote wiping of data. If you allow employees to access company data from their personal devices, consider what could happen if the device is stolen, lost, or if the employee leaves the company. How do you know that all data that belongs to your business has been removed from that phone and all access has been removed? One solution is remote data wiping, a feature that enables an authorized person to send a command that completely erases all stored data on a device. This option can protect your company's assets and reduce the risk of data breach. So you will want to consider this if you allow people to use personal devices. Can you wipe their data if they access your network? You bet you can, because there is no semblance of privacy once they access your data network. Just remember that. Now that you know some ways to protect your equipment, let's cover a few other safety precautions that can protect your apps and your data. First of all, make sure that your operating systems and software are up to date. It's important to use supported software that allows you to run regular updates. When possible, enable auto updates so you have the latest security fixes as soon as they are available. I will caveat this with, I know a business owner that is running Windows 98. I don't know how they're doing it, but they are running Windows 98, and it is like the craziest thing I have ever seen. I don't recommend that. Review your devices. Are the apps up to date? Do they do what you need, or do you really need them at all? If you don't need them, remove them from your devices, because it's just another vector for people to get into, bad actors to access and get access to your network. Finally, if you're responsible for distributing computers to employees or colleagues, establish policies that limit what data can be stored on their devices. Again, don't let them put on whatever program they want to put onto your devices, or even devices that connect to your network. You can say, hey, you cannot run this. Basically, that's kind of happened already through the state of Texas, where Governor Abbott has said TikTok can't be used on government computers or government mobile devices. And I'm not sure if that's extended out to personal devices. It has been extended to personal devices if they connect to the government network. So that's something to consider. Excuse me there. Now, again, if a device contains only the information necessary for someone to do their job, there's less risk to the company if it falls into the wrong hands. Now, many of these security precautions can be addressed by using cloud-based computing systems like Google Cloud. Google Cloud powers more than 100 products and services, from financial services products to gaming. If you use Gmail or Google Workspace, you're already using it. The cloud protects your information, identities, applications, and devices using the same secure by design infrastructure, built-in protection, and global network that Google uses to run their business. Data is encrypted in transit between Google's facilities and at rest. So this ensures that it can only be accessed when authorized, that external actors cannot gain access to it. Google's top priority is security. These systems undergo independent verification of security, privacy, and compliance controls. What this basically means is they have outside agencies that they hire to come in and try and penetrate their networks. And they tell them where they have gaps, and once they identify gaps, they fix them before somebody else finds them. So far, we've covered protecting passwords, identity, and hardware and apps. Now, let's talk about some ways you can protect your customers and your business too. Securing your website and protecting web pages from unauthorized access is vitally important to your business. Restrict website edit access to the people responsible for making those updates. Many sites are edited via web-based content management systems that are accessed with a username and password. That's where our password safety tips come in handy. If two-step verification is an option, consider turning that on. Another way to protect your site is using HTTPS. This stands for the Hypertext Transport Protocol Service. Sometimes the easiest way to explain something is to look at it. If you have a computer or smartphone handy, pull up a website. Any website will do, and look at the URL in the top of the browser window. You'll see that the URL starts with HTTP or HTTPS. Without getting too technical, this prefix allows browsers to load web pages. HTTPS is the same as HTTP, with the exception that the S means the website is secure. Okay, it means data is being encrypted going back and forth. HTTPS tells browsers to encrypt the data exchange with a web page. Encryption disguises data and lessens the chance that information is viewed or manipulated by unauthorized people. Adding this security protects customer data that is viewed or exchanged via the website. This is especially important for personal details or financial information, but it's a good idea to use HTTPS even if your site doesn't handle sensitive info. To use HTTPS, you need a secure certificate. Most likely, your web hosting provider offers this feature. If they do not, you can buy a digital certificate from a company that sells them, called a Certificate of Authority, and install it yourself. Now, one final reason to use HTTPS is, apart from the security benefit, using it can improve your website's ranking on search engines. For example, Google Search uses HTTPS as a positive ranking signal, which makes it rate higher in organic responses. Excuse me one second. Had to take a drink there, sorry. Google Workspace include a website builder tool called Google Sites. Incidentally, this is available as a consumer product as well, so you can get it as a standalone. Google Sites automatically includes a secure certificate. You don't need to pay for it. Again, this security measure protects customer data that is viewed and exchanged via the website. Google Sites can be used as internal sites or shared with the world, which means you can have an intranet or an internet. You control who can see and edit it. It's yours to manipulate and set up how you want. You can learn more about these at google.com/sites. Protecting your business online doesn't stop with your website. Another area of consideration is your email provider. Choosing a provider that supports encryption, transport layer security, TLS, is an important step toward protecting your business and your customers. By default, Gmail always tries to use a secure TLS connection when sending email. However, a secure TLS connection requires that both the sender and recipient use TLS. If the receiving server doesn't use TLS, Gmail still delivers the message, but the connection is not secure. When in doubt, do not open a suspicious email, period. Don't click on that link. Unsolicited email is called spam. Sometimes spam is simply an online version of a cold call. Sometimes spam can be a cyber attack attempt. Remind your colleagues and employees to be careful when clicking on email attachments, downloading files, or visiting new URLs. Pay attention to the URL and that it is specific to where you are going. Never click on links in unsolicited emails. Look out for suspicious sender email addresses and email signatures. And never share personal information such as usernames and passwords, social security numbers, credit card numbers, etc. Your bank will not call you and ask you for your username and password. They already know that. Well, they may not know your password, but they know what your username is, because passwords are encrypted even on their end, so they can't see them. But they will never call you on the phone and ask you for this. They will never send you an email and tell you to do this. I don't know if you ever had, oftentimes when I travel or go somewhere, my bank will send me little things about my credit card saying, this happened. If this happened, you need to go here to fix it. Basically log into my account. I don't log into the account from the link. I go into my account from my own way through my own banking app to get to it. So just be aware of all that. One common type of email attack is called phishing. That's phishing. In a phishing attempt, a cyber criminal impersonates a trustworthy brand or person to trick you into taking an action that gives them access to your business or customers. For example, they might try to trick you into installing a malicious piece of software called malware that will give them full access to your computer data. Or they might impersonate a credit card company in order to steal your username and password or other financial information. Phishing attacks can target an individual person or be broadcasted to a larger group. When they target an individual person, it's exactly what it is, targeted phishing. Phishing is not limited to email. It can happen in a variety of places, including text messages, messaging apps, and websites. It can even happen over the telephone. To make matters worse, phishing attacks can be fairly sophisticated, and the communications may appear legitimate at first glance. So let's take a look at how you can identify suspicious emails. Spam emails, malicious or not, can be difficult to spot, but there are some warning signs that can help you make a decision about whether it's safe. Unfortunately, each of these signs does not necessarily indicate that the email is spam. Sometimes it's a combination of signals that will tip you off. First, is the email from a sender you recognize? Check the displayed name. Does it match the email address you expect? If the displayed name is your well-known financial institution, but the email address is gimmeyyourmoney-12345@gmail.com, that's a good clue that this is not a legitimate email. Also, review the email subject line. Many spam emails inject a sense of urgency, hoping you'll take action. The email might literally include the word urgent in all capital letters. Sometimes, like the example shown on this slide, the subject line will warn you about an unexpected expense. Some email programs like Gmail offer the option to select an identity photo. If you know the sender and notice the absence of their profile photo, it's another warning sign. The next clue, poorly written copy. This will be a judgment call on your part because even the biggest brands can make spelling and grammar mistakes. But if the phrasing is awkward, if the sentences don't read naturally, it's a sign that the email text might be the product of a translation tool and possibly spam. Take a look at the subject line of the email shown on this slide. Invoice has been done and we will charge dues. Little open parenthesis thing, $348.68. That should be a big red flag that this is not a legitimate email. Finally, be very careful about attachments. Never ever click an attachment on an email that you suspect is spam. Do not be tempted. Let's look at another cyber attack attempt. It's a tricky one. Take a look at these two screenshots. Both appear to be from Google asking you to input your two-step verification code that would provide access to the account. Can you spot the fake one? Here's a closer look at the fake version. The first thing you'll notice that you don't recognize this person. We dropped a clue using unknown sender as the email address. Also, there is no profile photo associated with this email address, another clue that might help you identify a fake. The clue that clinches it, though, is the URL. It's really tricky because at a quick glance, it looks like you're at https://accountsgoogle.com. That's a Google URL. But if you take a closer look, you'll see that the next character after the .com is not a /. That's what you would see if the domain name ended in .com. You wouldn't see the -com.tn. That's not a Google URL, okay? That's why I said be aware of where the address is coming from. Be aware of the links that are being provided, that they read to actual businesses that you do business with. Google's email product, Gmail, provides a high level of security, protecting businesses and users from spam, phishing attacks, and malware by filtering out harmful email. Gmail blocks an estimated 10 million spam emails every single minute. 10 million spam emails every single minute. 100 million phishing attempts every day. Let me say that again, 100 million phishing attempts every day. Gmail is available as a free consumer product and also powers Google Workspace, a productivity suite built for businesses. Google Workspace accounts also include an optional free service called Advanced Protection. People who have at-risk accounts that contain particularly valuable files or sensitive information, should consider Advanced Protection. Advanced Protection requires a security key to verify your identity and sign into your Google account. You will need to buy a key if you don't have one. They range in price, but are typically about $30. Advanced Protection is different from two-step verification because the second step is always a physical security key. In addition, it limits third-party app access to your data, puts stronger checks on suspicious downloads, and tightens account recovery security to help prevent unauthorized access. Google strongly recommends that journalists, activists, business executives, and people involved in electronics enroll in this service. So the bottom line, think before you click. When in doubt, do not click. It's plain and simple. Don't click that link. If you're not sure, don't click it. Finally, let's consider this proverb. Um, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. That holds true with most things in life, including cybersecurity. It's important to have a plan ready in case you detect a security problem. A data breach response plan outlines who's in charge and what needs to be done if sensitive or confidential data is viewed or stolen by an unauthorized person. This response plan can protect your business assets by ensuring that action is taken quickly if things go wrong. For example, in the case of a ransomware attack in which cybercriminals steal sensitive data and then demand a ransom for its return, a solid response plan would include making sure you have recent data backups that are not necessarily stored at the same location. Take time to develop a clear plan in advance so everyone understands what steps to follow if a security incident occurs. If you need assistance creating a cybersecurity plan, give us a call at the SBDC. We have some templates that can help you assess your needs and complete a plan that will be designed specifically for your business. And all of these tools are free. They just require a bit of work on your part. Another step you can take to protect your equipment, software, and systems is to create a record of your technology assets. You should have an asset listing of all your technology assets to include their not their IP, but their man, I can't even think today. It'll come to me. Which platforms, tools, and software you're using. Their MAC addresses. That's it. Sorry, I had to go back to that. I couldn't even think of that. The MAC address is the actual physical identity of the product that you're using. And every single product has a different MAC address. No two are the same. That's how they're identified on the network. That's how they communicate with back and forth with each other. You also want to have information about what accounts like social media do you have. Don't forget to include suppliers and customers as well as employees. This data here is data that you want to have encrypted and entrusted to a safe location so people don't have access to it. But you need to make sure that you identify somebody that can access that in case you are not available. The pandemic showed us that a lot of people were not prepared because a lot of people became indisposed, incapable of working, and they had nobody at their job that knew how to get into their business assets for the businesses that were open, which was creating a lot of problems. So make sure you have somebody that has access to this data at some point. During your inventory, you might also discover out-of-date software, a potential target for cyber criminals. Again, most software now is live services, so it stays pretty much up to date. But for those of us that still have some standalone software, you may find that it becomes outdated, or you may have your mobile devices that you don't have to automatically update because you don't want to get stuck with an update. You'll update when you get ready. That could become a problem. So answering these questions will help you develop an asset inventory. This is an important step for improving your online security for your business and for you personally. You do not want to train employees about cybersecurity while you're experiencing a security breach. Don't wait. That brings up the old adage, the time to repair the roof is not when it's raining, okay? You need to repair the roof before it's raining. So take the time to teach your people what's going to happen, what to expect, and practice it, okay? Practice it. It will save you a lot of pain if it ever happens. You might designate someone at your business to be responsible for online safety policies and training. Okay, it has to be, you may have somebody that's a bit more tech savvy than you or understands things a little bit better. That would be a good fit for them. You could create an internal training website where security information and resources are available so that they can access them. You'll find this a lot in most of the larger businesses, not too often in small businesses, but it's a simple thing to set up. Training and resources are a great start, but it's just as important to make sure your company has a strong security culture. Employees are the first line of defense. Ideally, they feel comfortable reporting concerns or mistakes without fear of blame. In the event of a security breach, the focus is identifying and resolving the issue and preventing similar problems from happening again, not pointing fingers. Okay? You can build a security culture by discussing security regularly, encouraging employees to share concerns, and make sure that company leaders model good security practices. Okay? Let them know what the policies and procedures are. If you don't want them sticking USB devices into your network, tell them, don't do it, and let them know what's going to be the repercussions if they do. Okay? You need to outline these things, because if they know the expectations, they will be more willing to abide by them. Think about the security culture in your business. How can you make improvements? Now, consider this scenario. Despite your best security efforts, you are the victim of a cyber attack. Perhaps you inadvertently clicked on a link in a phishing email, or your account was hacked. Maybe you don't even know how your systems were breached, but you noticed suspicious activity on an account. This may happen, as was the case with the Target breach that happened many years ago. The cyber criminals gained access to Target's systems by going through the Internet of Things device of their thermometer, their thermostat. Okay, that's how they gained access to their entire network, through the thermostat. These things can happen. If you even suspect that you've been attacked, you should take proactive steps immediately. Start by telling your IT department, if you have one, what happened. Many small businesses do not have an IT department, so it's going to be you. If somebody else notices it, they need to let you know what happened. Don't let it fester. Okay? Don't let it fester. Contact all the financial services where you have accounts, including banks and credit card companies. Check closely for any activity you don't recognize and report fraudulent activity. Close or place holds on any accounts that you suspect may be compromised. Check your credit report for any new accounts that you didn't open. You can request these free credit report from each of the 3 nationwide credit report agencies every 12 months. I think right now, for the remainder of this year, I think you can do it like every month. That was something that they did for this year. So report any fraudulent accounts or loans you don't recognize. Consider protecting your credit by placing a fraud alert or freezing your credit. Additionally, after securing your bank and credit information, report the attack to the appropriate agencies. Do not wait. Okay, if it means contacting the police or contacting the FBI, you need to let them know. You're going to file a report with your local police first, so that they have an official record of the incident. Okay, and then your next step is going to be to file the report with the FBI's Internet Crime Compliance Center, I3C. Cyber crimes reported there will be investigated and referred to the appropriate agency. If you have a complaint and you want to file one, you will visit www.ic3.gov, and they will get in touch with you and respond back to you very quickly. If the security breach involved fraud, scams, or bad business practices, contact the Federal Trade Commission at www.reportfraudftc.gov. If you find any fraudulent activity on your credit report or have a reason to believe that someone is using your social security number, you can also file an identity theft report at www.idtheft.gov. You will also want to let your customers know at some point. This is a very tricky area to navigate. Oftentimes, businesses don't report, or they wait to report, and their problem compounds exponentially. Think about some of the data breaches that we've had in the past and how long it's taken agencies to really say that they've had a data breach. There are numerous reasons why they don't want to report these. And again, this is an ethical and a business decision that you're going to have to make on your own, but I recommend you let your customers know. Don't wait. Because if you're proactive and say, hey, we've been breached, this is what happened, this is what we're doing, they are going to have more confidence in you than if you wait and tell them 6 months from now that, hey, yeah, we kind of got hacked and, it wasn't a big thing. You kind of let your personal information get out there and your financial information, but it's okay. It's like, we think it's all right. That's not a good response. Now, depending on the steps, on the situation, the steps you take will vary, okay? If you are experiencing a ransomware attack, you should immediately disconnect the affected devices from your network. That's first and foremost. Turn off your internet. That is real simple. Unplug things. If data was stolen or compromised, you should take steps to protect your company and inform customers if their data was involved. See, there it is, right there. Let them know. No matter what type of cyber attacks you experience, it's smart to change your passwords, okay? When it happens, change your passwords. That can stop things pretty quickly sometimes. If your equipment or systems are compromised because of malicious software, you may need to seek professional technical support. Do a search for a managed security support provider to see options for companies that might be able to help. The other thing to remember is if you pay a ransom and they've got your information locked, there's no guarantee that you're going to get your information back, that you may not get access back to it. So think long and hard before paying that ransom. And continually monitor your credit and financial accounts. Make sure there's no other discrepancies within them. So let's recap all the topics we discussed today and look at a few additional Grow with Google resources that you can use for your business. First, use strong, unique passwords for all your accounts. Consider using a password manager. Now, your passwords can also use a string of passwords, which they found has been very secure, because if you use like 3 words and string them together, that is much harder to crack than if you use numbers and letters. I forget how many years they said it takes to crack it. And I think the magic number is like 14 letters. So use 2-step verification whenever possible. That will help secure your passwords and your information more securely. Keep your equipment safe, including your mobile devices. Secure your website using HTTPS, okay? You want to make sure that your information is being transported securely across the internet. Use a secure email provider. Don't just be sending mail out in the open, email out in the open. Don't wait for a cyber attack to happen to figure out what you will need to do. Make a plan and create a list of your tech assets so you know what you have and where the weak link might be. Finally, get your colleagues and employees on board by developing and nurturing a security culture. Okay, have them embrace the culture of security, and they will make your business grow and keep problems from happening. Don't let them be installing stuff and just downloading games on your network computers. You can learn more about online safety by visiting Google's Safety Center. From here, you can access features like 2-step verification, automatically deleting web and app activity data, setting parental controls to keep your family safe online, and running an account security checkup, and much more. To get to the Safety Center, visit safety.google. If you enjoy video lessons, subscribe to the Grow with Google YouTube channel at youtube.com/growwithgoogle. The channel publishes videos covering topics that can help you grow your skills, careers, and business. They have a lot of stuff that's out there that's very useful. If you're looking to start a new career and land a competitively paid job or build skills to grow your career, check out Google Career Certificates, which we also offer at the SBDC here in Abilene. Google Career Certificates can give you a path to in-demand jobs with top employees that are currently hiring. You can earn certificates and prepare for a new career in a high-growth field in under 6 months. If you don't have relative experience, you can do it much faster if you have some experience. You learn at your own pace and complete the online program on your own terms. Certificates are available for data analytics, business intelligence, advanced data analytics, digital marketing and e-commerce, IT support, IT automation with Python, user experience design, project manage, and of course, cybersecurity. And we offer all of these through Grow with Google here at the SBDC in Abilene, with the exception of IT automation with Python. So for your business, the cybersecurity certificate will be great. It's a good resource, and it's a good way for you to train one of your employees if they so want to do it. And the best thing is, these cost you absolutely nothing. They are free, 100% free, because it's being provided through a scholarship with from Grow with Google. And you can get started either by going with Grow with Google /certificates, or you can get in touch with me at America's SBDC here in Abilene. Let's see. All right. If you want to do the Grow with Google certificates on your own, if you have a larger business, or even if you don't, I don't think there's a limit on the size of your business, but U.S. businesses can get up to 500 scholarships each to Google Career Certificates to train their employees. And again, this costs you nothing. These scholarships are worth up to $100,000 in workforce training per American company. $100,000 in training for your company. Okay, here's the fine print. U.S. businesses are eligible to receive up to 500 scholarships for Google Career Certificates on Coursera, valid through December 18th, 2024. The eligibility and number of licenses granted are subject to application, business verification, and approval by Coursera. If you want to apply, you can go to grow.google/certificates for business, and you will find all the information that you need there. Let's see. Since we're talking about cybersecurity today, I'd like to mention one other training option, the Cybersecurity Essentials course. This is hosted on Coursera. This course provides a quick introduction to cybersecurity and is designed for business leaders, technical sales professionals, engineers, and consumers. The Google Cybersecurity Action Team developed this 10-hour course for those who want to gain a better understanding of potential threats and impacts to business. And I think we have access to this one here too. I'll have to check to make sure, but that would be a good thing for every small business to have somebody in your business to be trained in this. Again, it's 10 hours of training, and they get a certificate which lasts a lifetime. Grow with Google is an initiative to help people prepare for work, find jobs, and grow their business. Job seekers can grow their skills in order to find new jobs and advance their careers. Teachers can learn how to put the latest technology to work inside and outside of the classroom. Small business owners can build their online presence and find new customers. Startups can learn how to get their ideas the exposure they need to succeed. Developers can sharpen their current skills and master new ones. To learn more, visit google.com/grow. That brings us to the end of this presentation. I would like to thank you for attending today's workshop. We truly value your feedback. If you could take a moment to share your thoughts, we'd appreciate it. This can happen one or two ways. One way that I would like for you to do is to reach out to Google at g.co/grow feedback to let them know how this presentation was. It helps us, gives them a better understanding, and they help me to do these better and present them better if people aren't satisfied. Also, we would like for you to follow us on social media. You can keep on top of all of our upcoming webinars and training sessions at AbileneSBDC.org/workshops, or you can use the QR code that's on the screen. We'd be happy if you followed us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We are out on all three. Again, that brings us to the end of the presentation. If there are any questions, I will open the floor for questions at this time. Be happy to talk to you. It's just you, Mr. Kenny Heaton, and an Abilene SBDC guest. Which is you?
Thank you, sir. Excellent presentation.
Yeah, see, now you can do that, right?
Exactly.
All right.
Good presentation, Bill.
And that is it. This has been a presentation of America's SBDC at Texas Tech University, Abilene, in partnership with Grow with Google. We are powered by the Small Business Administration. Thank you and have a very lovely day.